Welcome to the Unicorn Connector Show, where we talk about relationships, revenue, and referrals. We'll dig into opportunities for people to generate revenue by making referrals from the relationships they establish. We'll also cover tips to grow your network, leverage it, and get paid residual income for life. Events are an absolutely magical place to make connections. And that's one of the most important parts about being a unicorn, is being open to meeting new people, and that you value meeting new people, and that you find amazing people to surround yourself with that are passionate about similar things that you are. And when you go to an event, there's nothing better than finding amazing people that you synergize with, people you have amazing conversations with, and then have no reason not to continue that conversation after the event. So, what are some of the things you can do to ensure that those conversations happen and to ensure that those connections stay fresh and that you stay top of mind? Now, before you go into an event, I think it's important that you are clear on the message about what you do and who you are and things like that, but just focus on having genuine conversations with people. Don't be too concerned about vomiting your elevator pitch all over somebody at any chance that you get. You're going to burn potential connections and relationships by doing that. So be yourself. Don't worry too much about what you're saying or who you're connecting with. Just have conversations, but have deep conversations. So many people go to networking events and get 100 business cards and then do nothing with them. Why not get 3 business cards, or better yet, exchange information via text and a picture and have real meaningful conversations at these events, where it's like, why wouldn't you continue that relationship? When you have a 5-minute conversation with somebody, it's not as meaningful as when you have a 20-minute conversation with somebody. And if you can have a 20-minute conversation with somebody at an event, I would encourage you to definitely take that outside of the event. And that's how you have some truly incredible conversations, is just by being yourself. So, after the event, what do you do? The very first thing you should do after any event is reach out to people. The best time to do it is literally as you're sitting in the car, in the parking lot. Fire off a few text messages to let the people who you met know that you really enjoyed getting to know them. Whether they were an existing connection or somebody that you just met at the event, or somebody that you hadn't even seen in a long time. Maybe it was a golden connection that you think you could do all sorts of magical things with. Shoot them a text message. Send them a voice message. Send them the image that you took together and just tell them how grateful you are that you got to meet them. Because when you tell them that you feel like they are a great person and that you were really happy to meet them, you can unlock relationships to do business or professionally support each other, or even just be friends that could last you a lifetime. And so the sooner that you reach back out to them, the better. Because if you wait too long, they're going to feel like that's your style of communication and that you're not going to communicate with them. And if you wait too long, they might even forget about you, especially if you didn't take a picture. So I definitely encourage you, when you're at events, take a selfie with the other person, then send it to them, put your name in their phone, and put theirs in your phone, so that when you call them or text them, they're going to know it's you, and they're going to know who you are, and they're going to respond. Because when you're already in somebody's phone, that kind of takes it to the next step. When you're just a random phone number, you better believe they're not going to answer the phone if you call it. So put your number in the phone. Better yet, if you took a picture with them, put the picture you took as your contact photo, so when you call them, they see that picture again. Now, if you take that picture with them, this is important. If you take that picture and you send it to them, and you send them your name, do not end right there. I've done it. You might have done it. You might do it in the future. But if you just send them the image and your name and your company name, and you don't get their name, or you don't save their info in your phone, you're going to look like a fool when you reach out to them without their name. You just are. So make sure you get their name, put it in your phone, have them send it to you. Take the extra few seconds to save that contact info, and you will be so much better off with continuing the conversation after the fact. Because that's what it's all about. While it's great to just connect and have conversations and get to know people, if you're really a connector and you're looking for ways to add value to these people's lives, you're going to want to continue that conversation. If you're looking for business, you're going to want to continue that conversation. If you're looking for connections for other people, you're going to want to continue that conversation. Simple as that. So make sure you get their name, because you're meeting with so many people at these events. And if you don't get their name, you're going to look like an idiot. So however you need to get your contact info in their phone, it's highly recommended that you do that. You can typically send your contact card to the new contact that you made and just save it in their phone. You'll be set. Now, you've put that person's name in their phone. You did all the steps right when you exchanged that information. Now, like I said, the best place to reach out next is from your car. But there's going to be follow-up to do even after that, because some of these events end late. Some of them are on weekends. Whatever it is, the number one reason that new connections don't do anything after they meet at an event is because of follow-up. It's so simple. But you can hit it off with somebody, have a great conversation, say, hey, let's chat again soon. And before you know it, you never follow up, they never follow up, you never talk to each other again. Are you at events to waste time? Or are you at events to connect with people and then continue connecting with the ones that you liked after the event? It's probably the latter. So I highly recommend that you follow up with people. The sooner the better. If not within 24 hours, within 48 hours. Any longer and it's going stale. They're forgetting about you. They might have gone to 3 other events between the time you connected and when you actually followed up with them. So if you're going to make it happen, be consistent, be persistent, but follow up. That's the most important key to creating and maintaining new connections, is the follow-up and just continuing to reach out and connect with them. Now, sometimes you do follow up with them, but they might not ever answer. So you just got to keep on going. So if you put your contact information in their phone, chances are they're going to answer. Chances are they'll respond to your text, but maybe not. If that's happening, maybe they didn't give you the right info. If you got their card and you sent them an image, then you verified that they got it, then you're going to know that they have your info, especially if they responded with their name. So if they're not responding, you can't get through to them, maybe you need to give them something. That's where providing value comes in. And that's why unicorns are abundant and look for ways to provide value. So what was it in this conversation you had with this person at the event that you feel like you could offer to them as a way to give value? Would it be a connection? I'll tell you what, if somebody's not responding and you hit them with, hey, I have somebody I want to introduce to you who I think would need your services. Now make sure you actually do. If you're going to say this, they're going to respond. Guarantee it. But make sure you have that connection for them. And if it's not a connection, maybe it's a resource. Maybe you had a conversation where they were talking about struggling with building their personal brand on LinkedIn. So you send them a personal brand guide that you know. Maybe they were talking about a marketing company that they've been dealing with that is not satisfying their needs. Maybe you could connect them with a better marketing company. Maybe you could send them a tool or a resource or a piece of technology that could help them in some way or another. However you decide you can provide value to them is entirely up to you. But if you can't get through to them and you think that there's really something there, you might want to reconsider if that's somebody you want to connect with, but you might want to consider giving them something of value, especially if you've asked for something. Don't ever just connect with somebody and pitch slap them. This is a common thing on LinkedIn. That term is even more common. It's less common when it comes to networking events, even though that's exactly what people do in the first 5 minutes of a conversation. But after the fact, less common. But if you start doing that, if you send somebody a text with, here's all the things that I can do to help you out and why you should, respond to my calls and schedule a meeting with me so I can sell you my thing, you're not gonna be as successful as a connector. But if you reach out with ways to provide value, then you will. Now, let's talk about vendors for a second, because when you're connecting with vendors at events, which are great connections, especially in the business space, when you're connecting with them, when you're talking with the people that are running the booths, the tables, whatever it is, you got to do something to stand out, because vendors get approached by so many people. They see hundreds, potentially thousands of faces over the course of a day or 3 or however long the event is. So you got to really stand out. And so if that means doing the thing I said, taking a picture and sending it to them, great. How else are you going to stand out? You're going to reach out to them first thing the next day? You're going to shoot them a text that same night? They might not respond for a couple of days because they're decompressing from events and all these different people. They might be getting hit with tons of emails and texts and calls and things like that because of the event. But you got to do something to stand out with the vendors. Talk about their business card. Compliment their booth. Give them something of value even while you're at the event. Ask them if they need anything. You could literally ask somebody at a booth if they need any water. Can I get you a bottle of water? If you feel like you can really serve them later on and that's going to be worth doing because you know that give could be reciprocated back to you, then do it. Offer a solution to people. Provide value to the vendors that you really want to connect with. See if there's anything they need that you can help with. You're not missing out on making 20 new connections by spending 2 minutes going and getting them a bottle of water. You've made one genuine connection. And that's way better than 20 connections that never respond, never get back to you, and never reconnect. You want to connect with people that will reconnect. You don't want 100 business cards. You don't want to give out 100 business cards. That's just not the best approach for it when you're making new connections at events. So make sure that you really focus on connecting with people in a deeper way, especially with vendors. Because I want you to imagine for a second how many other people also felt that they were an amazing vendor, that they were super great, that there are all these opportunities you can help them with. How many other people do you think felt that way? How many people do you think they talked to that also thought that they were just fantastic? You need to do something to stand out. And when you do meet a vendor that you think you can actually benefit, make sure you talk to everybody who's there. You don't know who the right person is to talk to. So make sure you understand who you should reach out to. You could even tell the people at the booth why you want to reach out to them and ask them, who is the right person for me to reach out to within your organization? Is it you? Are you the owner? Are you the decision maker? If that's who you need to connect with. And if not, then ask them, okay, so who is the best person to reach out to? Can I get their info? And they might say yes, they might say no. Go with it. Be polite. Whatever you need to do, maybe ask them specifically to help you connect with the right person. That might be one way to stand out. But they're going to be swamped with all sorts of people reaching out. So the sooner you can do it, the better. Because whatever happens, if you can express genuine interest in what they've got going on, and that you firmly believe that there are ways you can make magic together, when you reach out to them and you can clearly express that to them and that you can provide value to their life, then they'll be interested in responding back and working with you. But the sooner you do it, the better. And however you got to do and however you got to stand out with them is entirely up to you. But make sure you express to them how you can see yourself working with their organization or what you can do to help them out. So the event's over. First thing you got to do is go send a message to those key connections. I wouldn't say you got to send a message to every single person, especially because some of the times these events end late at night. It could be 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night or later. And you might be tired. You might think it's inappropriate to reach out to them that late at night. But when you send a message because you just couldn't wait and you just are that eager to have another conversation with them, not because you want to sell them something, but because you want to provide value to them, but because you enjoyed meeting them, but because you liked them, people enjoy that. People like to know that. If you have something you can compliment them on, include the compliment in that first text that you send to them. You should already have a picture message sitting in your messages with them. But if not, stand out. Do something that gets them to respond. Don't just blast your calendar link, though. I gotta tell you, when people do that, it's a surefire way to say, hey, please don't ever schedule with me because I'm just going to try to sell you something. What I recommend is you reach out to them, give them something, some sort of compliment, or just thank you for chatting earlier today, or hey, it was so great to meet you. Give them something friendly and valuable and nice that makes them want to keep reading the text. Don't send them your pitch. Don't send them some commercial. Don't send them a video. A lot of people think a video message is a great way to get your point across. I can tell you after sending hundreds of videos, it's a great way to not get a response. It's not the worst thing in the world to do. If you genuinely feel like sending a video message to the person is an authentic way to convey the message you want to send to them, great. It probably will work. But if you just blast a video message to every single person, you want to know what that does to them? It almost puts them on the page that they now need to send one back to you. And I can tell you, next to like 1% of people will actually want to take the time to send a video message back to you. Audio message might be different, but I encourage you to just send a simple text. Hey, it was so great to meet you at the event. I cannot wait to continue our conversation. Hope you have a great night. That's the text I want you to send when you get into your car late at night after a networking event. Not, when can we chat? Don't say that in the first text. Just say, hey, it was great meeting you. That's all. It was great. It was so great to meet you. Because if you say, hey, when can we chat at some late hour in the night, they're going to ignore it. They're going to know you're trying to sell them. If you say, hey, here's my Calendly link, will you schedule something? They just worked all day. They don't want another Calendly link. And then when you send them a text, the next day when it is a bit more reasonable, they're going to see that Calendly link and think, this guy just wants to sell me. This guy's just trying to close me on something, Just reach out. Say, hey, I would love to continue our conversation. Hope you have a great night. And then follow back up with them the next day. Now, what do you do if maybe you did get a bad number, ideally on accident? If it was on purpose, then these next tips might seem aggressive, but maybe you did get a bad number. What do you do? How do you find that person that you connected with who gave you their name and their phone number, and that was it? Well, hopefully you also got their company info. Hopefully you got their card. You can go check them out on social media. You can check them out on their website. You could send them an email if you did get their card. So don't stop there. If it's a connection that you genuinely want to continue that conversation with, chances are they didn't give you a bad number. So verify it with your card that they gave you, if they gave you a card. Ask some people if other people know them. You can fill out a form on their website if they're not responding to you and you felt like it was a conversation worth continuing. You can tag them on social media. I would recommend trying to connect with them on social before tagging them and seeing if you can have a conversation with them. But if you took pictures with these people and you post them on social media and you got their first and last name, you should be able to find them and tag them in that post and say, what an amazing event this was. I thoroughly enjoyed connecting with all the new people that I met. It was such a great time. Shout out to, and then list the names of the people that you connected with for being such great people. Would love to continue our conversation. You could even say, click on the link in the comments to schedule a meeting with me. That might actually work pretty well. It all just depends. And you also might not want to give your link out to all of the people on your social media. So however you want to approach that, there are other tips and other things you could do to leverage how that happens. But for now, I would just suggest doing what you can to reach back out to those people. The number one thing for you to do with new connections from networking events is to follow up. Your job is to get back in touch with them and get on a call with them. Because if you don't, you're never going to deepen that relationship. You're never going to establish a genuine connection. And that's what it's all about. Being a connector is about making those connections and making them stick. And then once you do, you got to stay on top of it. You got to continue reaching out with those people and wishing them a great day or a week or a month or get their birthday, send them a happy birthday. Whatever you do, don't let them fall off. They might not be a new customer right away. They might be one down the road. But if you had a great conversation with them and you align with their values and you think they're a good person, then keep that relationship active. You never know what the future will bring. And if it's somebody that you genuinely like and could see yourself doing business with down the road, or you just want to continue having a connection with them, you got to stay on top of it. Follow-up is not only about following up to reconnect after the event. It's following up after meetings. It's following up randomly because you just wanted to shoot them a message because you want to stand out to them. So whatever it is, just be yourself and reach out to people. Be personal about it. But most importantly, if you feel passionate about making those connections happen, don't give up. Stay on top of them because you never know what the best way is to reconnect with somebody. And you never know when they're going to respond and when it's going to work for them. Especially if they just got done at an event, and especially if they're a vendor. They probably have a lot going on, and it might take them a couple of days or even a week to get back to you. But don't give up if you really want to connect with this person. They could be sifting through hundreds of calls. They could be sifting through hundreds of emails. You might be just one fish in a sea full of fishies. So do the follow-up, but be yourself, be genuine, and make sure that you're genuinely interested in the people that you're talking with so that you have something meaningful to show that you genuinely cared about that conversation and that you were there, that you were present. So do what you can to show that true connection when you reach back out to connect with them. And do not pitch them. Do not let the first message you send somebody ever be a list of your services, how you can help them, because that is BS. Because you don't know enough about them to be able to tell them how you can help them until you have a deeper conversation to dig into the ways that you think you can help somebody. And only after you reach back out to somebody from a place of honest and ethical intentions to genuinely help them and just deepen that relationship and explore opportunities, only then will you find and make real meaningful connections. Look for ways to benefit their life in some way, then offer the solution. Because at the end of the day, it's 100% about people, not projects. Happy connecting. If you're looking to generate revenue by being a connector or by getting referrals for your existing business, then check out how Unicorn Universe creates abundance through connections in our community by going to unicornconnector.com. That's unicornconnector.com. Stay tuned, follow us, and hit the subscribe button as we expand on ways to grow your network, generate income from opportunities we avail, interview our partners and connectors, and show you how to become the magical unicorn connector that you are.